Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Vanessa DeLeon, and welcome to my Edgewater, New Jersey townhouse. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Scan the QR code to subscribe to our new channel, Weddingworthy, where we celebrate amazing couples and the love stories behind their perfect day.
Hi, I'm interior designer Vanessa DeLeon, based out of New York City, and we're currently in my Edgewater home. My husband and I were in the midst of designing what we thought back then was our dream home. And he loves modern, I love French Parisian, and how are we going to meld those two design styles together? So I started sketching, and the idea was I would make the structure on the right side of the house modern, and the left side of the house this sort of French Parisian feel. I'm inspired by Paris, and I started to look in the streets of New York on the Upper East Side. I would see these buildings or these historical buildings, and then attached to it was this modern structure. And I thought, how can I meld that together in my own residence? So what I did was literally, the house that we live in is the French Parisian side, and then it actually insets in, and that part is my office. So the house is French meets modern, literally. So I think the juxtaposition is amazing, and you have to do it tastefully done. If not, it just looks like a mix mash of all different things. So it has to be so balanced and so intentional. I think the biggest challenge building this home with my husband was striking that delicate balance between not going too far left and not going too far right, and really striking that perfect chord. And when we were building this house, I rendered everything, so we kind of saw the vision before it was actually implemented. But when you actually start seeing it coming to life, it's a totally different story. So, when I was showing my husband the molding details, for example, of how it was gonna work or work in concert with the marble fireplace that we ordered from Italy, those are the sort of things that you don't see when you're shopping in a catalog or online, right? When you start seeing these pieces come in and how they speak to each other, that's a totally different animal. So I think that process was interesting because when he saw these pieces, he's like, are we going too traditional? And I'm like, no, just relax. You're gonna see how everything sort of speaks to each other and how it all works in concert together. I love living in Edgewater. We call this the Gold Coast of New Jersey. My home overlooks New York City, from the George Washington Bridge all the way downtown. So I literally have the best view. Looking at Manhattan every day is an inspiration. This is my parlor. I love this space because this is ultimately where I hang out. This is the girl cave. There's actually a TV right inside this mirror. So when you turn it on, the TV comes through, and this is where I love to end my night. In most cases, this is the formal living room, but in a French sort of Parisian, you talk about the parlor. This is my parlor. This fireplace, I imported from Europe. I love the fact that this keystone here echoed the same as the crown molding. So it was important for me to sort of match that elevation. And then the detailing here matches the same rosette as a fireplace and the molding. So I always say it's the devil in the details. And those are the little things that I stare at 7 years later and I'm like, oh my God, it looks so good. Never gets old. Coffee table. This coffee table was designed by me. It has all different marble sizes in the bottom, thick acrylic, mixed metals, because I love mixed metals. And I love coffee table books. I think that the more stack, the more fun. I don't like it to be super simplistic. I like it to be sort of overly decorated. Even though I like less is more, but for the coffee table, it's all the things I love. So there's a couple books that I've been in, like interior design book, I've been in 2 of them. And I just love to have this all collected here so people can see what I'm into. This is one of my favorite side tables from iCult. It's marble and gold. I love this piece because it really reflects our design aesthetic. It's modern, it's cool, it's timeless. It's Neo-Marquina marble. These are the elements that speak to my coffee table. That is 2 different companies, but all works together. And the pillows that you see on the sofas and chairs are actually designed by me and available through Home by Vanessa DeLeon. I wanted a really interesting elevation in this space with antique glass, and I developed this elevation with moldings and trim and scrolls and the sconces, and this elevation was important to me because I wanted it to feel very formal. But in a townhouse setting, it's always difficult to find the best placement for a powder room. So there was no way I was gonna put the powder room with the door facing the parlor. So I said, how can I do this in a way that it's hidden? Well, voila. I did it right behind the bookcase. So I had this cavity from my stairs to the parlor. Then I said, hold on, I can actually pull this bathroom through here and still have the symmetry of the actual bookcase itself. So the depth is identical. And in that cavity for the stairs behind it, it was just a perfect little nook for the perfect little powder room. So the idea for here was to make something a little bit more whimsical, something that everybody would talk about as soon as they walk out. So I wanted to create this library theme. So I did a grown vault ceiling, wallpaper from like a bookcase, and it is a bookcase. And I had this custom sink fabricated, and it looks like an open book. So it's all concrete. And believe it or not, I found the book cabinets on a website. I cut them down and created this pedestal, so it's actually the vanity. And then the floor is a kicker. I took a bunch of novels and I actually laid it out, and they essentially sealed it like a kind of like a sealed garage, almost like a high-end decoupaging, if you will. So that's actually the floor. So when you're on the toilet, you could actually read. I love crystals, and I love healing crystals, and I'm all about that. And my husband and I were in Aspen, and we were walking around, and we found this geode store and saw this beautiful piece of agate. This is probably the biggest piece of agate I've ever seen. And it was on a stand on the floor, and we were like, wow, this is amazing. My husband was first, it actually first resonated with him before it did me. So we were actually building the house when we found it. Because it weighs so much, we actually had to enforce more steel that had to go to the downstairs and work its way up to support this niche and the weight of this. But having this in the front entrance is actually energetically amazing because it brings in good energy and it releases bad energy, and it's just a beautiful piece to have when you first walk in. We also backlit this, so you see this at night. All these crystals glow from the agate. It's just a remarkable piece of stone, and it's an architectural piece, and it's also sculptural, and it's one of my favorite pieces of art throughout the house. Come on straight to the dining room. What I love about this dining room, it's centralized between the parlor and the kitchen and a little family room in the back. This is where we host all our parties. We love to entertain, and how I do that, I actually add another table and spill out into the living room because of the open floor plan. It allows us to be flexible. What I love about this dining room also is that this dining room table is designed by yours truly. This is a trough in the center. You know, we always find it difficult to add a centerpiece in the middle of a dining room. So I created this trough that actually elevates and lights up, and you can take the actual acrylic piece out, and it's all crystals in the middle of this trough. So it creates a centerpiece that's really beautiful and romantic. But if you want to serve and have actual serving trays on it, you pull the trough down, you put the cover on it, and you can serve. So it's sort of versatile, it's a conversation piece, and it's one of my favorite pieces throughout the home. I don't like to have everything matchy-matchy, but I do like continuity and I do like symmetry. So I did 3 chairs on either side, 6 chairs of the same fabric, same base, and then the host chairs, I did something a little bit more traditional, but I wrapped them in this great Christian Lacroix fabric that's stunning. I love butterflies, and butterflies really resonate with me, and I wanted to see a little fun and a little splash, and I love the fact that it has this coppery undertone to some of the butterflies, which then lends itself to what's happening in the kitchen. So it's just the rhythm and the movement of fabrics and textures, and seeing that from a distance just makes me so excited. This piece is a champagne metalled credenza where I keep all, I don't even want to open it because we might bust out the seams. This is where I have a lot of my dishware. This is where I have a lot of our napkins, and we host events and parties, and that's all in here. I wanted something that was unique. This is from Bernhardt, one of my favorite pieces. Above, I love Domingo Zapata. This is one of his original pieces, and it's in my home. This is a great piece. It's a conversation piece for sure, especially here in the dining room. And who doesn't love Annie Leibowitz's photography? This is one of her pieces with the stand. You can scroll through here and just, I mean, all her work is fantastic. And the fact that I have rotating art here, one of my favorite pieces. How to design a dining room. Some people over-design, and to me, less is more. And that's why I don't really keep so much on my dining room table, mostly because of the trough. I really want you to see the crystals in the trough. But I feel like if you do flowers, you just gotta be careful because it could be underscaled for a 96-inch table. Or if you have a 120-inch table, you can't just have a single vase. I say, you know, do multiples, layers of vases. They could be empty, it just can be stylized really beautifully. It could have branches in it if you have a longer table. You could even have your own trough of flowers or roses on the dining room table. And on the credenza, things that just matter to you. In this case, you guys were coming over, so I got some flowers. I love books. To me, books are like art, and having a book stand is a place where somebody can actually scroll through. This was a gift. My husband loves cars and he collects cars, and this is a gift from one of his really good friends. So I really wanted to showcase that piece here and they especially come over a lot for dinner. So that was important for me to add there. Candles, diffusers, things of that nature. It doesn't have to be overly designed. It just has to be tastefully done. Now we're in my kitchen. I love my kitchen. My husband he owns restaurants, he's a chef. I love to cook, I'm creative. My son's getting into it. So this is really where we spend most of our time. I always say the kitchen is the heart and the arteries are the spaces around it. Dining room, living room, you know, it sends to the other pieces. So this is the heart, it truly is. And the artery is the dining room, the family room, the parlor. Okay, so everybody always asks me, this is so cool, what is it? So the idea is, I wanted something that was offset, asymmetric in a very symmetric situation, right? So how was I gonna do that by creating this sort of geometry? The idea was that I would have a marble box that holds up this island. So that was like the sculpture piece to it. And it actually is called Galaxy. It has flecks of copper, and the color story here is black, copper, white, and cream. So it also is a place where my son can cook with us. He stands on here, he helps prep, cook, he's close, safe. And the other idea to this space was you come up the stairs from the garage and you have a very ergonomic way of putting your groceries right here versus right here where you're over, 40 something inches high, you're at 20 something here, and it's very comfortable to kind of sort through and actually place all the groceries here. So it's just a really great place. And also it's a great place to sit and have conversation if you're talking to someone in the dining room, or you're turned over and talking to someone on the island, or if I'm cooking, my friends are hanging out over here. It's just a really good flex space and just something interesting to look at, especially this is the first piece in the sightline when you walk in. There's so many favorite pieces of my house, but one that I absolutely adore is this L'Arcournot stove that we had custom made for us. The idea was to bring in the copper, stainless steel, because I love mixed metals. And we were also able, because we custom made it, we were able to put our last names and the year that this was established and made when the home was built. So it's a really cool legacy piece, or hand-me-down. Hopefully my son would say, I want that stove one day. Who knows? That's a random thing to want, but hey, these stoves are legendary, so why not, right? The True refrigerator, the year that the black and copper came out was the year I was building my home, so I was their brand ambassador, and I was so excited to have this statement piece in my kitchen, this vertical cool piece that's so robust and so kind of industrial looking, juxtaposed to this French Parisian. It's just, the refrigerator is so me that it was intentional for this space. So I love this one. This is the under cabinet beverage center, which this is really, it's my son's refrigerator, so that's where his stuff is placed. This is a 36-inch counter that drops to a 30-inch table. So this is where my son has his breakfast in the morning. This is where we have a casual snack or dinner. We don't want to make the table up. So I love this, love the drop down. Makes for a great presentation, especially when you're entertaining. You could have platters here and keep the island open, or vice versa. If we have children at our get-togethers, most of the time we do, we make a little kiddie table over here and the adults on the other side. So it's just really versatile. This is an automatic little nook at the end of the home that served as a little family area. So the idea here was, when my son was a baby, this is where he had his playpen set up. Now he's older, so we have all his toys hidden behind the sofa. And then today, because you're here, this is nice and clean, but typically it's filled with Legos, hence the Legos I just found underneath here. This is really the family room. My son watches his shows, his YouTube on here. This is a big screen TV because of the distance. It is a full width of the townhouse, so that's why we have the big TV. And because the kitchen was so prominent, it was important for me to continue this elevation to these oversized cabinets that flank the television. It also creates great storage for all my son's toys. And of course, our dogs are part of our home. One of my dogs is Dolce, the other one is Vida, so La Dolce Vida, the good life. So this is supposed to look like the outside of our home. There's storage back there and it's accessed through the butler's pantry. So this is their little home within our home. This is the family room area. This is really my son's area. We have his storage underneath the TV. We have this ottoman filled with toys. And then I intentionally brought the sofa up so he can actually have his toys back there as well. So it's all hidden when guests like you come over. Behind me is a great piece from C. Finley. The idea for this piece and why it resonated with us, it's a Greek god, and we thought, hey, this is my son's area, he's our Greek god. My husband's Greek and I'm Cuban, so we thought it was a great piece for us here. And also brings a splash of color into this area as well. Right outside the door is this patio with this pergola that overhangs. Everyone thinks that the furniture out there is indoor furniture, and they're like, how do you have that outside? But it's actually resin, and it's sprayed in a copper finish. Sunbrella material. It is all rated for the outdoors, including the chandelier. It's made out of plastic and it's covered so it protects all the wiring. It is such a conversation piece. Every time someone walks out there, they're thinking that it's part of the inside of the house, but it's outside elements. So they freak out about it all the time. The best thing by being an interior designer is that you put your mark on the world. So the fact that I do hospitality, commercial work, and obviously residential work, because people live, breathe, eat in their home, I'm literally touching everyone, right? So when they're at a restaurant, sharing a moment, a birthday, an anniversary, they're sitting in the space that truly, it's like the Picasso to the canvas. I'm Picasso, and that space is my canvas. And I leave my mark in the world, and to me, that means so much. And there's something so grandiose about thinking that people are going to be in this space that I put my love in, and they're gonna enjoy those moments with their family, their holidays, etc. There's just something so great about that. The wallpaper behind me was a very specific selection. It's from a company from France called Latisse. It is beautiful, comes in many different colors. So the idea for this was, I wanted something to run up the entire side wall. So this goes all the way from the bottom to the upstairs. And a fun fact, about a few months after we moved in, I'm sitting in the dining room and I'm looking at the wallpaper. And I'm saying to myself, something's wrong with these panels. And I realized that my installer, who I love very much, installed it upside down. But then I was like, I can rip it all out, or do I just leave it and that's the story? So I opted to leave it and that's the story. So this wallpaper is actually upside down. Fun fact. Because the space was so narrow, I wanted to make sure that I had a window that overlooked the garage to make the downstairs feel much wider. But I wanted the garage to be special and be a part of the house and do something really interesting. So I designed this mural. So when you actually pull up to the garage, it looks like you're driving through Prince Street in New York City. And then I made this facade of all the window facades for that street. And I created one and photoshopped my husband's restaurant in one of them. You know, manifestation. My husband works out every single morning, so he ascends to the downstairs and always looks at his late mother before he walks into the gym. So this is a little space for her. He's always down here, so I thought to put it right here where he sees it every morning. Let's go into the second floor, which is my primary suite. Follow me. This is the second floor. We also have this big selfie mirror. I always, before I leave, make sure I look okay. And this is, I ascend to the downstairs, but this is where I look at myself one last time before I leave because it's an oversized mirror in this space. And this piece of art is one of my favorite pieces because it's me, and the artist who did this is Punk Me Tender. So Punk Me Tender did these NFTs around the pandemic, and he selected a few businesswomen, and he selected me to be one of his NFTs. So I'm like, can I have this printed? So he printed this one for me. So this is one of one, Punk Me Tender, this butterfly, which I love butterflies. So this gallery was nicely symmetrically installed, and every so often my son puts one of his pieces of art, which I love him to be expressive and creative. So in between we have some strange asymmetrical frames. This is me, apparently. Can you see the resemblance? Now we're gonna step into the primary suite. Follow me. So I love my primary suite. It feels romantic and elegant and tranquil all at the same time. Custom made this upholstery headboard that is beige to match the beige drapes and a lot of the gold elements. We have scalloped wallpaper from Philip Jeffries on my ceiling. It creates this twinkle effect. At night it looks stunning. In the daytime it looks great too, but at night it just creates this nice little glow on the ceiling. Feels very serene. We found these old Bombay chests, and what I did was just stylize them a little bit different, and I kind of repurposed them. I used the same marble in the bathroom area on top of these Bombay chests just to change them up and to feel more like they were custom made for the space. Now, I'm very much inspired by hotels. We travel quite a bit, and in Europe, I used to see these bathtubs in the middle of the spaces, and I said, how amazing would it be to have this bathtub in the middle of the primary suite overlooking Manhattan? And that's what I did here. So I created this platform to delineate what part of the floor is intended to be part of the ensuite, and then the chevron floor is the wood floor, so creating this little moment, this little stage, if you will. And when people walk in here, when I show them the house for the first time, they're like, is there a bathtub in your bedroom? I'm like, yes, there is. There's not one in yours. So this is one of my kind of notable pieces. Then we have the fireplace that echoes the same one as the parlor. Just loved it so much. Again, that tie-in with the moldings was super important. We have two chairs here. Fireplace is just very serene. Then my bathroom is right in the bedroom. Have a glass shower to overlook Manhattan. So you see beautiful Hudson River when you're getting ready in the morning. And our house faces east. And to see the sunrise in the morning and sun gaze is amazing. Over here we have my vanity, double vanity with a 45-degree angled trough sink, his and hers. Again, if you notice, the marble matches, the platform matches the oversized marble slabs in the shower. So the story is really cohesive, and it sets the tone and it matches all the other elements throughout the space. When people walk in, when I show the house for the first time, they're like, why is there a Louis XVI chair in your shower? And I said, well, it's a outdoor chair that's in my shower. So it's where I sit down with steam or shave my legs. And it's really an outdoor chair. So it's rated for all elements, hence the shower and steam. Welcome to our lounge on the roof. When you walk up the stairs, the first piece you see is this Timothy Alton infinity mirror. It's pretty wild because the bulbs look like they're just literally infinity. And except for your face stays one dimension, but the lights looks like it's the tunnel. Everybody freaks out about this. I wanted to change the floor up here and do something unique. So I did concrete sealed, and the intentions is to have like these cracks that concrete always cracks over time, but I wanted it to look like it was already cracked and filled with metallic. So there's gold and silver metallic paint within the epoxy, and then obviously some natural cracks over time. The cement does move and it has cracked, but it's supposed to look sort of like edgy and cool and loungy, and there you have it. Of course, a notable Mario Bellini sofa. I love this piece. You could add pieces to it, you could remove pieces, you could take the ottoman, put it in the center. It's such a cool loungy piece and such a notable one. Platinum chairs, because why not? It's the lounge, it's fun, it's modern, it's cool. And this fireplace is all the talk every time people are up here. It's really not a fire, it's just vape. And the idea is, if kids are up here, especially my son, my son used to take his whole fire department that he had with the firemen and the trucks, and he used to put it on here and go wee, wee, wee. It was very cute when he was little. But now it's all about Legos because he's 6. So there are some Lego pieces within this trough for sure. We have Nero Marquina marble on top. This fire is so cool because we leave that on. It just creates a vibe, and you hear the logs crackling. It's really cool. TV, the idea of the smoke. I did this wallpaper in this 3-dimensional wall profile with the LEDs behind it, so it looks like it's actually 3-dimensioned. And my husband loves to smoke cigars, so I made this little niche to make it look like this is part of the firewood. And down here is his humidor, which is where he stores all his cigars. So if you see like a smoky feeling, it just feels like a vibe. It feels like a lounge. I designed this bar with the mixed metals in mind. Silvers, golds, lacquered, and walnuts. So I designed this entire thing to create an effect of, this could be a piece of furniture, this could be a bar, but it could be very sculptural and very cool at the same time. Over here we have the true columns. This is a beautiful wine column. Again, this robust and industrial feel with the mixed metals using silver and gold to tell the story of this space was important for me. So that's why I did all the appliances as so. And this is where we entertain. This is where the parties happen. We have our ice machine down here, our beverage center in here. We have the indoor-outdoor, the walls open up, the window walls open up, and you can literally feel like you're outside in. But, you know, this is where the party happens. Everybody loves to be on the roof deck overlooking Manhattan, and this is the appropriate space. Yes, we use it as a family room, but mostly it is a lounge, and it is really our kind of bar hangout area. I wanted to do spackled in LED lights, and when I was building the house, they were all the rage back then. So the idea for that was, my husband and I, when we got married, our whole theme was X and V. His Greek name is Halalabas, and that's an X, and mine is Vanessa, V. And our wedding theme was XV, Roman numerals, and it also was on the 15th. So we did this thing that everything around our napkins, our beverage themes, or whatever, our wedding, everything was this XV. So I'm like, how cool would it be to actually install these LED lights in a grid so it looks like a geometric, cool design, but it actually is our initials, X and V. I love the upstairs lounge, and I love the fact that I have New York City right outside my view. Speaking of New York City, come follow me. This is our outdoor terrace on the roof deck. Because of this vertical living alongside the cliff, there wasn't much space to have a backyard. So in these sort of settings, in these townhouse settings, the backyard essentially are your roof decks. The roof deck here was important to have all the outdoor activities that you would have in the outside in a backyard in a traditional setting. So we have the pool on our deck that overlooks Manhattan. We have this outdoor barbecue that overlooks Manhattan. We dine al fresco. We have these dormers that our dogs actually pop into and they can actually see the street. We have a fireplace out here. It's so serene, so amazing, and why wouldn't you want to be in this rooftop lounge that overlooks Manhattan? And you have the George Washington Bridge all the way downtown to the Freedom Towers. It is such a remarkable place to be. And then when you look at the back of the house, you see coyotes and deer. Supposedly someone has seen a bear in this area. I have not, so I can't, well, I saw pictures of it, but I couldn't really see where it was, so I can't really tell you, but I know I've seen coyotes and I've seen deer outside our backyard. So now we're walking into my office side. This is my office side, so this is the modern side. And if you notice, we went from a mansard roof, which was more traditional, to this glass facade, which is modern and really edgy. So this is my office side, but it's all connected from the 4th floor patio. So I originally wanted to be a fashion stylist, and I went to FIT, acquired a great position at a big fashion house, and realized it shortly thereafter. It was like I was living The Devil Wears Prada, if you ever seen that movie. And I thought to myself, this is not where I want to be. I felt like it was a bit toxic, and I quickly left fashion and went back to my dad's furniture store. And I was actually working at my dad's furniture store, putting myself through college. So when I was there, I was designing and sketching and coming up with like new cool designs for furniture. And people would ask me, can you come to my house? I want to do window treatments and bedding, and you know, I want to paint the wall, I want to do some wallpaper, and it was things of decorating at that time. But then it was like, hey, I want to blow out the house to the back. I want to go up another floor. I didn't even know what a load-bearing wall was at the time. So I knew that I had to go back to school and really, you know, take interior design classes so I can know how to do AutoCAD, know what a load-bearing wall was. And I did, and when I went back to school, I felt a little bit behind the 8 ball because all my friends had graduated, and I thought I want to continue and start like my career path. So while I was in college, I opened up my LLC and started from nothing and developed this business that was Vanessa DeLeon Associates. And here I am, 20 some odd years later. Welcome to my office. This is my portfolio wall. I like to change these up every once in a while. And my logo color is sage green, black, and white. So I always have a little element of the color of my logo somewhere in the office. So this is the portfolio wall. Why not have it there? So as soon as you walk in, you see all my past work, and we rotate that every once in a while. So it's a lot of fun to see different work. And when my clients are sitting here, they can see something that is stagnant versus something that's rolling on the screen, but typically we're doing a presentation when they're here anyway. So these are some of my awards. I have many others literally everywhere, but these are some of the newer ones. This is a kitchen and bath. In 2018, I was honored the Innovators, which is a very pristine award for the kitchen and bath. I was one of the designers that were picked for that. This is where I have most of my presentations. And because this still is a townhouse type of setting, we have a kitchen within this space. Instead of a hood, we have a downdraft that goes directly outside. So when we do have a little meal that we want to cook or heat up, we have this as an opportunity to have a kitchen within the space that the staff can use. This is what we call the design pit. We have a few designers that are out in the field right now. This is Rob, this is Talia, this is my desk, this is Christy's desk, that's Vicky's desk, and it's Tim's desk. And this is where the magic happens. And this here is a model of the new house that we're building, the true forever home. I wanted to model this as a gift to my husband because it was a lot to create, and I wanted him to see what everything was going to look like as far as the elements are concerned. And it's an unusual house. I designed this house with a center courtyard, and the idea is I believe very much in feng shui and in having a balanced home. So I actually designed this house with the Bagua in mind. So the idea is that this is a center courtyard that has the pool inside the courtyard. This is truly the heart and the center of the home, and everything kind of spills around that. So the house is very unusual, made with love, and here you have a 3D model of it. I don't really believe that there's work-life balance, at least for me. Building my office right next to my home, I could come down at 1 o'clock in the morning and get this creative rush and work and be here and be filled with samples, knee deep in samples, and I could do it at any time of the day. But it works for me because as soon as I put my son down, I do come and I do work because I work best at night. My creative juices just flow in the middle of the night. There's no one here, so I'm able to really just be in my own element and just think and design. Because most of the day I'm running around, going to job sites, answering questions, answering emails, working with the staff. I'm really not being creative or designing during the day. So the time that I have is really in the middle of the night, and that's where I work. And it's so convenient because I can literally open up a door and hop to my office. I think what home means to me is peace. Obviously, a well-designed home means peace to me. And the fact that my home reflects my personality, there's a sense of peace. And when I'm here, I feel peace. I feel a Zen moment in every room that I sit in. So yeah, I think it means peace for me.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.